Hi, welcome to Empire Deluxe Internet Edition. I'm going to be playing this game a lot in the future. The reason for this game is it's a turn-based strategy game, and it's what I believe to be my expertise, but I might be wrong. I think I've done pretty well. I've been playing games like this since the late 1980s, and Empire Deluxe I've only played recently, starting, well, if you can see down there at the bottom, it says June 10th, 2004. And that's when the last version of this game came out. It's by Killer Bee Software. Now, there's two versions. There's Internet Edition, there's Enhanced Edition. I could give you the history of this, but there's really no point. I'll probably give it in the future. But the point is, later on, somebody else made an Empire Deluxe, and it wasn't very good. And I've been trying to get a game called Strategic Conquest for Macintosh, and I have a version of it, but I need a good Mac emulator. But I used to play Stratcon 2 on the Apple IIgs, which was what I used to play. There's the War Room image, of course. You got to have one of those. This is my custom texture pack, so it's going to look a little funny, but I need this so that I can see it a little more clearly. We're going to jump right into the advanced game, and we're going to try and show you how to play the game at the same time. This is good. 100 by 60 is a classical. This goes back to the original Empire from the 1970s, which used to be played on mainframes and such. You can have a much larger map, up to about 250 something by 250 something. On the other Empire Deluxe Enhanced Edition, you can play with humongous maps of thousands of squares. But I don't play that because the AI is rather funny, and the units are very funny, and I don't like most of the units, and I want to customize that too. But meanwhile, so we have world building factors, so you got high altitude, low altitude, wet, dry, green, rough. I don't care. These are usually fine. City building factors. Now, I usually prefer 100 cities, but it might be that we needed fewer cities in the original game. I think it was like 75 or maybe even 50. But they were telling me they wanted me to do 200, so that's wrong. Now, the variance is the number that it might vary by, but I don't care about that particularly. Production. Well, then why not set it to 0? No, it doesn't matter. Production efficiency. Now, production efficiency regards your game, regards your individual cities. Efficiency 125 and variance of up to 100% indicates that you've got cities will be efficient. If they're 100%, then they go at 100% speed. But then you can have them up to 250 and down to 1. If you attack them and you damage them, they go down in efficiency, but you can improve the efficiency by not making anything. That's great. That's really wonderful. I'm not used to this feature too much. It didn't exist in the old Strategic Conquest, but this is Empire Deluxe. This is one of the best ones. Specialities. This means 15% of all cities will have specialities. That is, if you make a particular type of fighting unit, I don't know what to call them, just unit, I guess, combat unit, military unit, something or other, armed forces unit, that there's a 50% of the cities will have specialities and certain ones that will be made a little faster. Not important. Making it. Here we go. Now, I'd like to set this to expert, but let's do standard. Now, the handicaps, I don't want to fight against green, so I think I'll fight against blue. I'll fight against blue. There you go. It doesn't really matter what color you select. You decide based on this. They don't even have the names. Okay, handicaps. Now, used to be handicaps were only these values, and I think they only had a couple of these values, with the idea that it would take longer to make stuff. But they decided for Empire Deluxe Internet, let's add the advantage, which is good. We really don't need that. Production is the same thing. Having an advantage is a really great help. In fact, we should do that. This is just going to be a test game, really. Unless, of course, we get pretty far with it. Here we go. Back hour was at. All set. Oh, by the way. Okay, so we start with... It names the cities from a list. I'm going to make a new list someday. I used to have a list, but that's not important. Efficiency 100%, that's good. No production. That's if you want to set it to no production because you want the efficiency to go up. I heard something like at 104 or 107, some number like that, that's when you should have it go until. I don't care about that. I think 100% is fine. Now, these unit types, these are actually a little smaller for some reason, but I made these graphics myself. I found some silhouettes of various types, and I made them into this and made a little background for them, and I got the colors to change and everything. This kind of work, this is a lot harder than just doing Minecraft, setting up graphics. Now, as you can see from this, you can see that there's a little area. Now, the green is regular grassland. It's just regular land. The river, the blue thing here is a river, and you go over that, and some land units will take longer to go over that. Same with this sandy terrain. I don't know if it's actually sandy or if it's something else. There's another city right there, so there's no point in having anything other than infantry. The blue is, of course, water. This is a very stylized. I'm thinking of maybe changing the graphics a little bit to give it a little bit of a texture, but I like this as it is right now. Now, here's what the pieces do. Infantry, they go slow, but they can capture cities. They are the weakest piece type, and they count as one land unit. The other land unit counts as 2 land units, and the number becomes important later on. And it's much stronger, and it can also take over cities. Making that. In production 1, that's the one that you're going to make in production right now. 6 means it takes 6 turns to make, by the way. So as you can see, there's some of them go up to 60 turns. These numbers are completely wrong. I'm so used to playing it in the sense of strategic conquest that I don't like the numbers that we have them now, especially as it's 100% efficiency. This should be 4 turns. This should be 25 turns, and so on and so on. So they're all wrong. Fighters and bombers are the aerial units. These are the ones that have fuel. Now, if you've ever played Advance Wars, yes, Advance Wars, we have all of the pieces, apart from the infantry and the armor types, require fuel. And having a bunch of boats that require fuel is one thing. But there's a bunch of other vehicles, land vehicles in Advance Wars that require fuel. Now, we don't have all the crazy vehicles and stuff like that in this version. Empire Deluxe Enhanced has an enhanced database that does include many extra vehicles, but the game plays so differently than Advance Wars, and they don't have little figures of characters popping up. So the fighters do damage aircraft to aircraft, and they can do damage against infantry and stuff like that. The bombers are better against cities and against other targets, but are really terrible against other air targets. Transport is how you get the armies from one place to the next. Only transports can take armies. They take up to 6. In Strategic Conquest, it was 8. But this game, they take up to 6, and but if they count as 2, they can only take 3. So you get 3 armor, or you can take 6 infantry. I know what I'd go with. I think armor doesn't go over mountains, but I forgot the detail there. Destroyer is a damaging kind of boat. You can only make boats in port cities. You can only make aircraft in any city. Any city can make an aircraft, but the problem, they've got airstrips and stuff like that. I haven't set those up yet. Okay, submarines. Unlike in Advance Wars, they don't go underwater like that, but they are difficult to see, and so it's a simulation of them going underwater. Cruisers more powerful than destroyers. Battleships the most powerful out there. Unfortunately, they don't have the 15 hit points. What do they have? 8? It's terrible. Or 12. I forgot what they have. If I were rewriting the game, I'd make it 15. It should be 15. And especially if they're going to take 60 turns to make, definitely. Carriers are for aircraft. If you need to send aircraft a long distance over water and you don't have anywhere That's what they're for the sea. For the land, there's, of course, air bases, which I believe infantries can make when they land on a... Anyway, so we're done. Let's do this. Ensign. Oh, yeah, you start as an ensign. And then the more times you win the game, you get better at it. They give you higher ranks. Let's see if we can look at this stuff. All right, up here, there's the name of the stupid name for the city. I hate it. Producing. So the information up here is usually very helpful. Okay, let's see what we got. Display. And I never look at this stuff, really. Center screen is, you press C and it just goes doing, doing, doing. Well, that's not right. Well, it's because it's not set up that way. The zoom map. Now, this is really helpful stuff. This is the biggest resolution, but later on we might want to play. Are you serious? Will you stop that? 2, 3. 3 is still legible to me, but it looks rather pixelated even now. 4 is as small as the graphics get, and then 5 is just basically dots, rectangles. You'll need that if you want to see the whole map. This is much better for larger maps, obviously. Still doesn't work yet. But we've got the handy dandy. Or we can move this around with the numpad. I use a numpad all the time. Oh, it's the corner, it's the edge. Okay, good. Let's see if I can find, it's not there. All right, well, we decided we're going to make it so just press F10. Let's press F10. Yes, I'm done with the turn. There we go. Now I got the infantry being made. Now, you get to name the infantry, but there's really no point. We'll call him Joe. Call him Joe. It's Joe. Hi, Joe. He gets to move 2. I believe range is the number you get to move. Ord means order. IN is infantry. Engine Joe, really? Okay, so now we're going to try and take over that city that we can see. This is Fog of War. Can't see beyond Fog of War, so you don't know where anything is. If you've ever played Advanced Wars, you'll have seen this a lot, and you'll understand it fully. I was really upset that I couldn't make a Fog of War that had transparency values. Maybe we can do that for the Enhanced Edition, but I don't know. I'd like to find out. I wanted to do the same thing with the background. I wanted the piece to just be red with the outline and not have this square shape on it. I was very upset about that. Never mind it. We're attacking. We've taken over the city. Unfortunately, I'd like to be able to see the rest of everything beyond that. It used to be in the old DOS version of this game. This game is so old, it existed in DOS. The original Empire Deluxe, which was not Killer Bee software, it was White Wolf software. There was a DOS and a Windows version. The DOS version had little scroll bars, but there was a scroll bar on the left side, not the right side, because they didn't know it was going to be standard for it to be on the right side. The Windows version, it worked. I think it still worked on XP, Windows XP, but currently I don't think it does work anymore. But it was such a buggy program. Okay, now you can see there's still more land in this direction, so we don't know how much extra there is. So it's usually a good idea to make like a fighter or something and have the fighter go flying around. And I think we're going to do that this time. And now we've got another one. We'll call... Now, what happened to the previous infantry? Joe took over the city, and so now he's in charge militarily of the city. And so he's not a unit anymore, so you don't see him going around anything. Notice up here it's a number 12. That 12 indicates it's day 12 of our operation. So we got a new guy. We'll call him Mac. Why not? But where are we going to go with this guy? We haven't made the airplane to go flying around. Oh, it says range 1. I thought it was range 2, so that's good. Okay, so what I think we're going to do is I think we're going to go looking around here. It's probably the edge. Aha! So take that one over. We lost. So now we got to do the next one. Call him Lenny. You really don't need to name him anything. You can do this. You can click and drag if you want to. And it'll usually figure out where you can move. like that. But I prefer to use the numpad when possible. Did it. Okay, so this guy's also going to make infantry, because what we're going to do is once we've built up enough infantry, then we can have one of them making transport. So we can start sending them out. Now, call this one Top Gun. Well, now we've got a special case, because now we have 3 cities, and they are all excellent. And so now what we could do is we can have him, have him, double click on him, and we can now change production to transport. So now we are going to make transport, and now he is going to make more infantry. Okay, so now what we do is we can only go 10 squares, or is it 10 squares? Wait a minute. Unit 6 of 18, so we can only go 9 squares. Okay, so that's 7. 7's good. There's the edge of the screen, by the way. Love the edge of the screen. I designed that graphic too. Well, if you've ever seen this graphic before, it was a stamp in Photoshop. Well, we see an extra city over there, so we're gonna want to take it over. Okay, so since that's going to be making armies, what we're going to do is we're going to have this guy just walk around. Now, when somebody is in a city, you notice that there was a little red thing in there when there was a guy in the city, and that's an indication that the city is not empty. It's got a little red dot in there. Okay, so what do we got here? This is 7. We don't need to actually look. See, there it is. It's got the red in it. Let me show you something. We don't need to go here. Actually, it's got a pretty good view. We could probably just move 2 squares away from the edge. So what we could do here is go here. But then we could go 7. As you can see in the upper left, it says distance 7, 8, 9. So we'll go there instead. There we go. So as you can see, it really helps us save on all that moving around. Now we know where everything is. This is a really weird map. Now let me talk about these diagonals for a second. You can move a ship through it, but because of the nature of the graphics that I created, it does it like that. So you can move armies through there, and you can move ships through there like that. It's no big deal. So now we know there is something to go to. We do this, and let's see if it works. Yep, he starts heading there. Okay, so now we got more infantry. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start setting this up. It's not waypoints, though. I'm always forgetting what it is. Is it production? No. Oh, there's a different... is it F8? Survey mode, group mode, path mode. That's 8. Yeah, okay. Okay, so what we could do is we could do this... Wait, that didn't work. Try again. There we go. So that's going to be... Here we go. Salamis? Oh, it's probably Salamis or something. I don't know. These cities are named after places from elsewhere. So now we've got a movement path. Anything created there will automatically move to there because you've set it. And so it applies to these specific ones. So you turn off planes and ships. You just want land units to go there. And they just start piling up there. And what happened here? Oh. We've also got survey mode, which is, I think, regular. Group mode tries to group things together, and you can move a bunch of guys at once. I try to avoid that. So it's just survey mode is when you walk around. You're looking around the place. You get to look at everybody else. See, let's look up Alt 5, and you'll see what I mean. See, here's the world map, and we've only got this area, and who knows who's spreading out elsewhere. So we got to spread out as soon as we possibly can. It's been 27 days now. So that's very important, and we got to center this. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to handle this. Oops. That's a bit of a problem. You press escape and it should... There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6... Make it 9. There we go. See, now you can see that this is completely impossible to get to. We could send a transport over here, and that would be fine. But what we have to do is we have to get another guy in that direction. Now this city... Let's show you that city. I said let's show you that city. It won't show you the city. Why won't it show you the city? There. Okay. Oh, it doesn't say anything about it. I thought it was going to say what the percentage is. It's a low percentage because I've only given it 3 points. Now, normally the cities just have small dots, and they're supposed to be buildings and stuff. But I'm doing this as a multi-pointed star. So this one's 3. It's the smallest type. It's not worth doing. Now, from here, I could just double-click and go like that. But you know what I'm going to do instead? I'm going to press H, and it just goes home. In fact, it went there, which was actually closer. How about that? The dark green is forest, by the way. Okay, so now we can go 9. 9, that's good. Let's try, let's go here. Okay, now we've pretty much explored that. Unless we can keep moving down that way. Which I don't know we can. What we're going to do is we're going to put him to sleep while we're waiting for them to arrive, for the transport to be made. If you look here, 130th Infantry. There isn't anything else right now. So we go to City, Production, and it says there are 21 days left. That's horrible. Why are there 21 days left? This is 100%. This in prod, by the way, says how many are in production for these particular types. So there's 2 infantry already in production. So it really helps if you want it. It's like, I've got enough guys making transports, etc., 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 etc. Anyway, so we'll put him to sleep. You press S. Now this is annoying because the land unit should automatically go, but he's not. But we'll press OK and see what happens. Yeah, I see he moved automatically. Press H for home. Now we have to decide now, what are we going to do with this guy? Are we going to just send him there? Or are we going to send another guy this way? Well, all I really know about this area is that the forest ends here because of the curvature of the forest. So it's a 1 square forest. It may be the edge of the map, of the island. So what we'll do is we'll hold this guy back. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't want to do that. So we got orders, and now we can order him around. Activate. And now you can move him again. But what we want to do... Well, we'll just move him. And then what we'll do is we'll go F8. And as you can see, now we've got F8. We've got this red dotted line, which indicates that we've got land units go this way. And so we do another one for the same thing. And there you go. But we go back to F10 to play the game, actually. Okay, now what we got to do here... We got to send that guy back down there. And it's good, therefore, that they don't automatically send the airplanes that way, because we turn that off, you see. That's very, very helpful. But there's a... this is the one problem the game has. It's easier to do this on a larger... Like if we did this, I'd have more room. But then you can't see the grid. Can you see the grid here? You can see the grid here. That's something. But I want to play this in full screen, if I can. 9. I can only go 9 squares. There you go. Yeah, you have to keep pressing stop. All right, so that is the end. So now what we could do is now we can start exploring the other stuff. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Nothing. Now what we're going to just do is just go the full distance because I don't care anymore. Whammo. As you can see, there's a huge area. All right, let's see what we got here. He wins! And that's very, very good. But what it is not is helpful, because what we need now are more transports. And we need more armies so we can send the transports. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a transport and then we'll switch to infantry. Now let me explain something here. I believe the game is set up so that when you make one of something, that the second one of the same thing that you make will be made a little bit faster. So transports are 27, but then the next transport will be a little less than that. I might be wrong on this. It might be a strategic conquest thing instead. If so, there's nothing I can really do about that. So yeah, what we got here is we're going to do transport, not infantry. And then when the transport is made, then we'll load it up. I'll show you about loading it up. Okay, so there's nothing that way. But now, we have to see. Now, we can't send him here. That's 12. So we have to send him 9 away. Salamis. So now, we can just move him there. And now from here, we can move him out in this direction. 9, that's a good one. And then H to go home. It's really, really intuitive. A keyboard control that is probably second to none. Okay, so we want this to go 9 squares again. As you can see, there's a bunch of cities we want to go to, and that's very annoying to not have that access. And these guys are piling up. Let's see what we got here. Okay, we've got 8 infantry and still no... And transport is only in 5 days. So that's good, I guess. Oop. Now it asks if I'm done with the turn. It hasn't been asking that before. But after a certain number of turns, it starts asking if I'm done with the turn on a regular basis. Because from now on, we have very complicated... So we can say no. If the turn ends suddenly, we can now change that. Okay, so this is... Almost ready. And you go home. Transport! Okay, now watch this. Kamchatka. What is this, a game of Risk? Okay, so there's our transports, and let's move them out. Now watch this. Wham! Now he's got a rectangle. The rectangle indicates that he's full of armies. I don't know if he's full, but it says over here, it says 6 in. So it's carrying 6 armies. And so we calculate 4 or 5. This graphic isn't fixed. I need to fix this graphic. Yeah, I didn't realize that some of these were not fixed yet. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to go there. And now this guy's all done. Apart from right there, so we'll do right there. There we go. Alright, so home for him. Okay, now he's reached the target, and we got a guy flashing, and it's our red guy. And I guess the white indicates he's on top of something. I don't know. So we just move him in. He wins. And now we're going to make... I normally wouldn't want to do this, but we're probably going to want to make a bomber or a destroyer. I think it'll be a destroyer. We should probably have the other one make the destroyer, and this one make either a battleship or a fighter or bomber or something. But I think a battleship will take a little while. We got a really good efficiency here, so we'll do destroyers. Have a nice big fleet, that sort of thing. Okay, now let me count how many we got here. The transport just did this. Number of units is now 6. So now what we can do is we can change this. And it should work. But there's the possibility that it won't work, that it won't be able to find a way for it. It should have... It doesn't have exactly a pathfinding algorithm, but it does a pretty good job anyway. Continuing now. I could just have him stop for the mo. Let's see what happens here. Oh, couldn't see it. Okay, now that he's done, now we can see this could take 18. The distance is 17. It's perfectly fine because it's the distance of 17 and not 18. 18 being the maximum. Okay. Take over. Lost. So that means there's 4 left. So now we got 3 left. And that was destroyer. Yeah, I kind of want this guy to be the destroyer. But it'll take 28 turns. So I think we'll make bombers. I think the bombers should be in the back, though. So I'm not sure how we're going to do this. And so this is where you can make your own decisions on how to do this and on what to decide and stuff like that. It's really, really helpful. But what we're going to do, as it says efficiency 86%, I want to bring it up to 100%. Set it to no production. So now what we're going to do is going to look at user prefs. Gameplay aircraft range warning in turn prompt always on after turn number 100. That's why it's 100, I don't know. Because it's 47 it did it. But here we go. No prod alert 100. So every turn under 100 it won't tell you that you're not making anything. Default prod is infantry. That's very helpful to do that. I also set off all the turned off all the stuff except warnings. Warnings have to be kept on. This stuff is good. I'm not fond of the autosave, really. Alright, so we're back to this. We got 3 guys left. Let's go for here. We go there like that, and he'll go around it. Because we were going to go that way, so we want to go to that location at the most. And see, he moved that way. He's heading down that way correctly. Okay, now what we need to do... What do I need to do? Well, what we need to do really is explore over here. That can wait. So we'll just send him there. There we go. So now what? No, he stays. Gotta wait for the next transport. And now he goes home. Sometimes there's a rare occurrence where he can't go home because he went too far and stuff like that. It does happen. Not much you can really do about it. What's the button to activate all on this thing? I gotta look it up now. Unload, that's you. There we go. 2 left. 1 left. And he won. But it's a very low efficiency, so we're not going to be able to do anything with him. And so now, theoretically, we got to figure out where to put him. Now, is this guy making transport? Oh, that's a mistake. So what we'll probably do is we'll probably just load him up over here. This is complicated. Now, did you see why I did that? Let me show you what I did. I moved this guy to this side. Now, do you see why that was a mistake? I know you're going to say, but how can it be a mistake? You did it. And it's like, oh, these gray ones are the mountains. So you got mountains, you got forests, or grass, or thick grasslands or something, or brambles, or I don't know, rivers, obviously, and I don't know if this is actually supposed to be desert or if it's just sandy terrain. But anyway, the reason why it was a mistake to move over here, because there's nothing but water over here. You want to go to the land squares, because that's where the enemy is going to be, very likely. We haven't gotten to the point where we have these guys ready, that you're fighting them yet, but we're getting there. We are getting there. Okay. So he goes home. But did you see what happened up there? Yep. Yep. show you. Let's look at that again. Yep, he found one of those at the last second, and it's pretty powerful. So we are going to be sending our transport up there if we ever get back to it. So now time to end the turn. But we do have to do this. It's a sad truth. We have a transport. But now, let me show you what happens. Oh, I gotta wait. Alright, well, that transport we'll get to in a minute. But this one, as you see, there's nothing here, but in 2 turns there'll be infantry. The infantry might move, but then there is a way to just have them just sit there and wait. It's called the load feature. So you press L, and he sits there, and it says load. And so any piece, any army piece that comes within a square of it will try to get loaded on there. Now you're probably going to say, what happens if he's got the 5 points of army and you tries to get a 2-point armor? Well, he's not going to fit on there, for one thing. But you know what we should do? Put him there. Doesn't have anything. Now this is interesting. Now theoretically, this used to happen all the time in strategic conquest. You could connect diagonally, and you'd have an army there, and then you'd go bloop. And speaking of which, probably need to make more armies over here. But we won't. That just go home there. He stays there because we're still waiting for his. Okay, so there we go. Now let's see what happens if we try to do this. It works. But then he loads, and so you have to unload. Have to unload. Now if you've unloaded but your guy isn't going to move, there's a command you can do. I'll show you the command right now. It's called wait. That there's another one. There's skip or continue. That's space. But when there's no more of that turn, then it's the last one. Spacing to stop it is no good. So what we do now is now we go W. And it does the same thing. Is there some reason this isn't working? Isn't there a way to tell it don't do anything? Ugh. This is why I hate this. Is I'm so used to the other version of the game. Alright, so what we're going to do here is we may have to... Can't do orders. Disband unit, don't want that. Okay, so now let's do transport. Orders. Activate. Unload. There we go. Well, now space worked. Okay, that's good. Infantry, infantry. He'll load that up. There we go. Now this guy's ready. So let's try to take him over. Didn't work. So he's got to wait again. It's going to be interesting. Well, now we're going to just load him up, I guess. We have a destroyer. And with that, I think it's a 30-minute mark. I think we're going to wait until next time. So, thanks for watching. If you enjoy this game, I don't know if I've got a link for you to buy the game, but if not, we'll try to find something anyway. So, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.